Hi folks, RSBN founder and CEO Joe Seals here. Did you know there is nearly $1 trillion of infrastructure and pandemic funds yet to be spent? That's right, there's a massive amount of money that the lame duck administration is pushing hard to spend in their last few months. If the president is able to push these funds out, we could see another prolonged inflation surge, just like during COVID. And I'm sure you remember the terrible effects that high prices had on most Americans. But there's hope. A surge in prices can be beaten. A gold IRA from Birch Gold Group is the ultimate inflation hedge for your savings in uncertain times. To see how to protect your IRA or 401k, get your free info kit on gold by texting the word Trump to 989898. Birch Gold makes it seamless to roll over your retirement account while preserving your tax advantage status. Don't wait for the president's spending spree to tank the dollar further. Protect your financial future now. Text Trump to the number 989898 for your free info kit from Birch Gold.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next president of the United States, President Donald J. Trump.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. This is quite a gathering, isn't it, huh? This is it. We're getting to the end. We're getting to the end, and we're leading in all the polls, so that's a good thing. We better keep it going like your wrestling team. We better keep it going, you know? A very big hello to Pennsylvania. Thank you very much. This is some little gathering we have, and we really give a very special hello to Penn State. We love Penn State. We love Penn State. And I'm thrilled to be here, the home of the Nittany Lions, with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. You're very special. And I think I'd like to begin by asking a very simple question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? So I'm here today with a message of hope for all Americans. If you want to go out and win an election. Do you want to win an election? Because we're leading, but we got to close it out, right? We got to close it out. I will promise you we're going to end inflation very quickly. We're going to get those prices down too. And I'll stop the invasion of criminals pouring into our country. They're criminals and they're pouring in like we've never seen. We're going to stop it. We're going to get them the hell out of here. And I will bring back the American dream, because you want the American dream, and we're going to bring it back. So this is all you really need to know. Kamala broke it, and I will fix it. We're going to fix it very fast. We're going to fix our country up very fast. With your support, on November 5th, America will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than ever before. We're going to do it fast. This election is a choice between whether we will have 4 more years of gross incompetence and failure. It's disgusting what they're doing. Or whether we'll begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. I'm asking you to be excited about the future. You want to be excited about the future. People aren't excited about this country very much anymore with the people we have in there. We have the worst president in the history of our country. We have the worst vice president, a grossly incompetent person in the history of our country. I'm asking you to dream big again. You're going to dream big, just like your wrestling team dreams big. You know, where the hell are they? Where are they? I hear that team is brutal out there. I can tell. It's easy to tell. I can pick every one of them. Jim Jordan told me about you guys, you know, Jim Jordan, he told me about, look at him with the muscles all over the place. You better get ready, because I'm going to bring you up here in a little while, so you guys better get ready. You guys better get ready. Maybe I'll wrestle one of them or 2 of them. Huh? That would be an upset. No, I'm not going to play that game. Anyway, you get ready. We're bringing you up here in a little while, okay? So, you know, tone up those muscles a little bit. Congratulations, fellas. That's fantastic. Man, that's a fantastic record you have. This will be America's new golden age, and every problem facing us can be solved. But now the fate of our nation is in your hands, and it really is. It's a big thing. This is the biggest election in the history of our country, because our country really has gone bad. It's gone bad. It's so sad. When you look at the things we're doing, that we even have to say, like, men playing in women's sports, I don't think so. I don't think so. No, but you think of it, so many things, all of the transgender operations, all the coming into our country. They're letting criminals into our country by the millions. Pennsylvania, you have to stand up, and you have to tell Kamala Harris that I can't even believe I'm saying the name Kamala. Nobody ever heard of her. I'm running against somebody. And you know, you can't use the name Harris if I say Harris. They say, who the hell is Harris? Did you see when she got stuck 2 weeks ago in the teleprompter? She couldn't get. It was 32 days. Now there's 9 days left, but it was 32 days, and she's reading, and the teleprompter broke. And that happens a lot. If you're going to be a politician, you better be able to get through it without a teleprompter, but you can't. And the sucker snapped back, damn it. It snapped back. And she was reading, right? She goes, and 32 days, 32 days, 32 days, 30. I said, oh, this is bad. And then, boom, it snapped back. Too bad. But Pennsylvania, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala that you've had enough. You're not going to take it anymore. You're the worst vice president. You destroyed San Francisco. You are horrible to the great state of California. You're just horrible. Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here, Kamala. Get the hell out of here. We've had enough of this crap. Could you imagine going through, we just went through 4 years with a guy that had no clue, and now we're supposed to go through another one, and she's worse than him. She's worse. The polls are open for early voting here in Pennsylvania. I went to school in Pennsylvania. We didn't have quite as good a wrestling team, I will admit. They were okay. I would say they would have lost most of them would be, I think every one of them pinned in the first minute or less. The best one would have lasted about a minute with these characters out here. But we had some smart people, I will say. We had some smart people, but we're setting all-time records right now in the voting. I don't know if you heard that, the fake news. Oh, look at all of the fake news. That's a lot of, whoa. That's a lot of fake news. That's a lot of fake news. But let's keep it going. We have to close it out. We got to keep it going. We're doing incredibly. Nobody's done like we're doing right now. And I know you like me, but I know you're also comparing it to what we had for 4 years. So that's what's happening with the vote. And I think we're going to keep it going, and we're going to have a real landslide type election, and that's what we have to have. But everybody has to go out and vote. Just out of curiosity, who has already voted? Okay, that's good. Because with that number, and then we're about to go and do the real thing, right? Who is going to vote? That's great. That's great. Well, thanks for the early voters, but the Republicans tend to vote late. They like Tuesdays, and that's fine. Just get out and vote. Everybody promise you're going to vote, right? Promise? Okay. If you're a student here at Penn State, and it really is, it's a great place. I've known it for a long time. I know so many people that have graduated and done so well here. You can vote in person. You can vote by mail. Then get your friends, call your parents, call your grandparents, your cousins, call anybody. A woman named Jane, I know her very well, she said to her husband, he's a big slob of a guy, big fat slob. And she said to him, Harold, get the hell out of that sofa. Get out right now, Harold. We're getting out. We're going to vote for the president, but I'm watching the game. Get your ass out of the sofa. And he got up and he voted. He feels good about himself now. Then he sat back down and he watched the game. But get everyone you know to swamp the vote. We want to swamp them. We want to make it too big to rig. Because, bad things happen with these guys. We got to make it too big. The one thing you do, you make it too big, they can't do a thing. So let's get out. Everybody has to get out. And we want to have a big margin. We want to have a big, fat, beautiful margin. With your help, 10 days from now, we're going to win Pennsylvania. We're going to defeat Kamala Harris. And we're going to make America great again. I'm looking at this crowd. It's such a young crowd. It's a young crowd. Got a lot of young people here. That's what people haven't really gotten. We have a lot of everything, and it's a great honor to be representing you. We've been on this journey for a long time together. We've all had a lot of victories. We've had the best rallies ever. There's never been outside. You have as many people as they're standing out there. If anybody would like to give up their seat or their location, I'm sure that you'd have it filled very quickly if you'd like to do that. I don't think too many people are going to do that. But we've had great success, and it's sort of, in one way it's beautiful, and another way it's a little sad, because we've had these rallies and we have 9 days to go to total victory, and then we're going to have a different kind of a victory. We're going to turn our nation around. We're going to have control of a situation that needs having control of, and we're going to turn it around. It's going to happen really fast, too. Two things. We're going to, first hour, we can do many things in the first, but first, we're going to drill, baby, drill. And we're going to close our borders to criminals and drug dealers and all of these people coming in from mental institutions, and as saying is, we're going to have those borders closed. They asked me, what would you do? I listed about 6 things. They asked her, what would you do different? Did you see her answer? I don't know. right side, right path, right? Wrong path. They're like at 90% wrong path, and she doesn't know. I think I'd leave everything the same. That's the end of that election. When she said that, I said, that's got to be the greatest ad ever, right, Marjorie? Look at Marjorie Taylor Greene, very shy person. She's a very shy, we have great Congress people here. She's a very shy person, John, right? And John, you love these guys back here, huh? Great John Joyce. For all the young people here at Penn State and across America who may be voting for the first time, I want you to know that I am in this fight for you. I didn't need this. I had a nice life. I'll tell you what, I've been investigated more than the great Alphonse Capone. Did you ever hear of Al Capone? The guys. You think this has been fun, but you know, we had 4 of the greatest years. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. Think of this, we had the strongest border. Oh, let's bring that, my favorite chart of all time. Can you do it? Do it. You gotta do this. Yes. Oh. Without that chart, I wouldn't be here. I turned around and said, bring down the chart. I turned it down, I wouldn't be here, I guess, probably. But see the arrow on the bottom? That's the lowest in history. This was done by the Border Patrol. And that was my last day in office. And then these incompetent people took over. What they've done to our country, it's not believable. Look at what happened. It's all illegal immigration, criminals pouring into our country at levels that we've never seen before, drugs pouring into our country 10 times more than we had seen ever. The country is just, it's in free fall. We're a nation in decline, and we're going to turn it around. We're going to turn it around fast. But even beyond that, even if it didn't show those great numbers, I love that chart. I sleep with it every night. I hold it. I kiss it. Okay, we love you, darling. Thank you. Put it away. But it's true. I mean, you take a look at those numbers. It's just incredible. That was the single lowest time. And then they came in, and all they had to do was leave it. We had remain in Mexico. How about that? Do you think that was easy to get? And we paid nothing. All I did is say, if you don't let us have it, we're going to tariff every product you have at 25%. They said, we'd love you to have very bad people remain in Mexico, you know, gang members. This was in Tijuana. That was a dangerous place. That was a dangerous place. Hundreds of thousands of people stay. This little town, Tijuana, it was probably the fastest growing town in the world because of me. Remain in Mexico. And we had a great system, and we were doing it, and everything was good. We had a terrible result. We did better in 2020 than we did in 2016. Millions of more votes, but it was COVID, and a lot of bad things happened, a lot of bad things. And so I said, do I go to the beach or stay at one of my very beautiful, I have the greatest resorts in the world. I could have been extremely happy. I could have had those beautiful waves smack me in the face. I could have had the beautiful suntan. This white skin could have been tan and beautiful. But you know, if I had it to do again, I would have done the exact same thing because I want to be with you right here at Penn State, and we want to make our country great again. We're going to make America great again. It's true. That's true. You know, we did so well the second time, but then I sat back and I watched, and I thought, you know, we did a good job. We did a great job as president, rebuilt our military, got the biggest tax cuts ever. We had the biggest regulation cuts, which actually were probably even more meaningful than the tax cuts. We had the best job numbers. We had the best. It was great. We rebuilt our military. And I sat back and I assumed that these people would do okay or good. They were so bad. I watched. I couldn't believe it. And I said, I got to do it again. I got to do it again, because we had the country at a point. In fact, I was going to have a theme, not Make America Great. It was Keep America Great. CAG, but MAG is much better than CAG. It's true, CAG. Keep America Great. The problem was America became not great. And so we couldn't do that. And then I said, we have to run because these people have no idea what the hell they're doing. And now we're running and we're leading, and we have to finish it off, and then we're going to turn it around even better than before. We're going to make it stronger and better. So many people come up to me at all these places. We just had a big one in Detroit, but they come up to me in all the different places. They said, I had the best 4 years I've ever had. You have the same thing. And now it's tough, sir. It's really tough. And we're going to get it back. You're going to have even better than before. We're going to bring businesses in, bring jobs in. It's all coming back. You watch. It's come back fast. But the reason I've gone through all of these battles and endured all of the abuse, I have certainly have, in history, Andrew Jackson was considered the president who was really probably hit the hardest, and then Abraham Lincoln. But in all fairness, he had a little civil war going, right? But now I think I hit the top of that list. But we're going to do something that's going to be amazing. We're going to turn this country around so fast. We have to do it, and we're going to do it. We want to make it so that when your children come into prominence, they're going to take over something that they can be so proud of. They're going to inherit the America that they deserve and that you deserve them to have. Kamala Harris is an incompetent person who, in all fairness, got no votes. Sleepy Joe Biden had 14 million votes. Then he went to sleep. We had a debate. He didn't do well in the debate. That's all right. And he went down, and they went to him, and they said, you're out. They took over the presidency of the United States. I don't even use the word coup. It was a coup. But basically, they took over the presidency. They told him to get the hell out. Crazy Nancy Pelosi, the group, Schumer, the whole group. And then they talk about democracy. Oh, democracy. No, she got no votes. He got 14 million. All of a sudden, I'm running against her. But this is sort of like I have a great friend, Dana White, UFC. Probably some of these guys will be there. But this is like they have a fight, and the fight is not doing well. And they say, get him out of there. Let's replace him with another fighter. I got to take two people. But the second one, I think it is, in her own way, might be easier than the first. I'll let you know on November 5th. But we have to get this thing, and we have to get it big. Kamala will destroy your inheritance. But much more importantly, she's going to destroy your country. If you vote for me, I will ensure that you begin your careers, young people, in a roaring economy and a time of unprecedented peace and prosperity. I had no wars. Crooked Hillary Clinton said, look at him. He's going to take us into wars. I said, no. She said, but look at that personality. He's going to take us into wars. I said, no, my personality is going to keep us out of wars. That's what we did. We had no wars. First president in 82 years. Other than ISIS, which we defeated in record time. We knocked the hell out of them. And we have a great military. Remember, there's not these stupid people that you watch on television like Milley and Mattis. And the real people, the real generals. We knocked out ISIS, and they said it would take 5 years. We did it in about 5 weeks. And we have a great military. I flew to Iraq, and I met with the generals. They were like central casting. They looked like Tom Cruise, but better looking. Much better looking, actually, because they know how to fight. These guys were great, and they did a great job for me. But we had no wars. We had peace through strength. It was a great thing, peace through strength, and that's it. You don't have to send your kids out to war, have your kid blown up for a country that you've never heard of and that doesn't want anything to do with you anyway. But I will not send you to fight and die in a foolish, never-ending foreign war. I'll get you out of the wokeness, and your schools will be great again. Your schools are going to be great. We'll end left-wing censorship, and I'll defend your God-given rights, and I will ensure that you inherit the freest, strongest, and most powerful nation on the face of the earth. That's what we're going to do. We rebuilt the entire military, and then these stupid people gave a big chunk of it to Afghanistan. For what? There was no reason. Now, here's the good news. It was a lot, but it was very little by comparison. But to see them have that it's just not even believable. And we have it. I didn't lose one soldier in 18 months. I spoke to the head of the Taliban, Abdul. I said, Abdul, don't do it. Anyway, I can't go exactly because it's not nice. He's still there. Do you know Abdul's still there? But I said, don't do it, Abdul. Don't do it. He said, but why do you send me a picture of my home? I said, Abdul. Anyway, what happened with Abdul, and we were fine. 18 months we went without a soldier being killed or even shot at. Think of it, 18 months. And then when these guys, we had a great election, but it was, by the way, I got the most votes in the history of our country for a sitting president. Can you imagine? But they say they beat us. He got a few more votes, sitting in his basement, not talking, and it's a disgrace. But you know what? We're going to pull this off. It'll be the greatest victory in the history of our country for all of us, not for me, for all of us. For all of us. And starting on day one of my new administration, I will end Kamala Harris's war on Pennsylvania energy, and we will frack, okay? She's not going to frack. You know, that's a big part of Pennsylvania.
Hi folks, RSBN founder and CEO Joe Steele here. Did you know there is nearly $1 trillion of infrastructure and pandemic funds yet to be spent? That's right, there's a massive amount of money that the lame duck administration is pushing hard to spend in their last few months. If the president is able to push these funds out, we could see another prolonged inflation surge, just like during COVID. And I'm sure you remember the terrible effects that high prices had on most Americans. But there's hope. A surge in prices can be beaten. A gold IRA from Birch Gold Group is the ultimate inflation hedge for your savings in uncertain times. To see how to protect your IRA or 401k, get your free info kit on gold by texting the word Trump to 989898. Birch Gold makes it seamless to roll over your retirement account while preserving your tax advantage status. Don't wait for the president's spending spree to tank the dollar further. Protect your financial future now. Text Trump to the number 989898 for your free info kit from Birch Gold.
The fracking is a big part. She's been against it for her whole life. She's been against anything having to do with anything underground. She'll build a windmill. It kills all your birds. Isn't that wonderful? But no, she's against anything having to do with fracking, except about a year ago, she learned that she's going to need Pennsylvania. So she turned her thing and she said, oh, I'd love to see people frack. She had no idea what it was, but she said, frack. And she changed. But you know, with a politician, they always go with what's number one. She'll switch in 2 minutes. All of the different things. She wants transgender operations for people that are in penitentiaries if they demand it. All of a sudden, she says no. You know, we had a very short time with her. She had a little honeymoon period because nobody knew anything about her. When they found out about her, she went down the tubes. Yesterday, she had Beyonce because she can't draw a crowd. See this crowd? This crowd is packed. I could sell it out 3 times. You got to see outside. And we don't have Beyonce, who couldn't fill the arena last night. But the people went there because they thought they were going to hear Beyonce sing, right? Beyonce got out and said, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to endorse her. What's her name? What is her name again? Oh, I'm going to endorse her. They just don't get it. So what happened is the crowd came because they thought she was going to sing. Then she turned around, she left, and Kamala started speaking, and it was a disaster. They all left, everybody left. We don't need anybody because we are here. Let me be nice. We're here for policy reasons. Oh, policy. We're here for common sense. So the truth is, we're really the party of common sense when you get right down to it, right? Common sense. And they send buses out. You know, they have plenty of money. They get it from the unions and a couple of other. They got a lot of money. They always had more money than the Republicans, but we have much better policy. We have much better ideas. They cheat much better. That's one thing I'll say. They cheat. Nobody cheats like that. Nobody cheats like that. But I'll tell you what, this is going to be the greatest victory in the history of our country. It's going to be an exciting It's going to be an exciting night on November 5th. Kamala has said repeatedly that she wants to ban fracking. She was going to do it. You know, that's 500,000 Commonwealth of Pennsylvania jobs. By the way, never, ever call it a state. I had a friend, a poor guy. He was a friend of one of the congressmen right there, GT. He was a friend of our congressman. He got up and he started talking about the state of Pennsylvania. He was dead. That was the end, right? He was dead. He died. He was dying up here. He didn't know what he was doing wrong. We were trying to send him a message. It's got to be called the Commonwealth, right? It's, well, Biden called it the state, right? But you know, how about Biden when he go to Florida? It's great to be in New Hampshire. It's great. That's when we knew that that wasn't going to work out too well. Kamala's crushing your energy industry with her vicious natural gas export ban currently going on. You don't know about that. And with her Green New scam, Kamala Harris is closing down your power plants. Just take a look. And this is on fracking. 500,000 Pennsylvania jobs. Take a look.
Kamala Harris pushed the far-left Green New Deal. That means huge new taxes, increased utility bills, and banning gas cars.
That's why I am committed to passing a Green New Deal and finally putting an end to fracking once and for all.
Mama Kamala just don't give a frack.
Kamala's fracking ban would kill jobs and raise gas prices. Kamala doesn't give a frack about you. Only President Trump will bring back Trump's strong economy.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
I'm just looking at my hair. I don't like it. I should have been looking a little left. No, I started looking at my hair. I said, am I allowed to go back and recomb it? No. Now, she was against fracking from the beginning. I've been against nothing. I was the exact opposite. I was in favor of because it's tremendous wealth. We have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country in the world, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia, more than anybody, and we're going to start using it. We're going to make a lot of money. We're going to pay down debt. We're going to do a lot of things. But she was against it from the day she was born. You know, her father was a Marxist, and I guess is a Marxist professor of economics, which is an interesting play on words, Marxist and economics, and I don't know. And I think your father wants to come out now, which is good because we're trying to see. I bet he's a nice man, but we would like to have him say, but we just want to win this thing fair and square. It doesn't matter how we win. We have to win this battle to save our country. Our country is going so bad under Kamala's high-cost energy policies. Pennsylvania electricity prices are already up 50% and are projected to more than double in the years ahead. Year and a half, they expect to be double. Not only are they not going to be double, your energy prices, that's car, gasoline, because we're going to end the electric mandate immediately, okay? Immediately. Your energy prices will be cut in half within 12 months from January 20th, which is when we would take over. So your energy prices, and that's going to bring down the price of everything. That's how they screwed up our country. That's one of the ways, one of the many ways. They spent too much, they borrowed too much, they did everything too much. But we're going to cut your energy prices by 50%. And we can do it. Most countries can't even think about that. We can do it because we have it right under our feet. We have more than anybody. We have Anwar in Alaska, the biggest find anywhere in the world, as big as Saudi Arabia, they think. Whether it is or not, it's close. And I got it done. Ronald Reagan couldn't get it done. Nobody could get it done. I got it done. We're all set to go. This guy gets in. First thing they did is cancel Anwar. We'll get that started immediately. We'll supply all of Asia with oil and gas, which they need. But Kamala's energy disaster stops the day I take office. We will terminate the Green New scam immediately. I will stop energy price hikes. I will rescind the natural gas export ban. They ban it They ban it. It's banned. They don't know why. If you ask them, why did you ban it? Well, you don't really know. We'll have energy independence again. Think of it, energy independent just 4 years ago. For most of American history, Pennsylvania was the commercial and industrial powerhouse of the United States of America. But after years of globalist, radical left politicians making bad decisions like Kamala, they waged a war on your Commonwealth like never before, and they annihilated your steel mills, decimated your coal jobs, assaulted your oil and gas jobs, and sold off your manufacturing jobs to China and other foreign nations all over the world. They destroyed so many states. They're going to come back. Under the Trump administration, we're going to take back what is rightfully ours. We're going to bring it back with smart tariffs. Tariffs, taxes, not on you, by the way. The taxes are on you. Taxes are on other countries that have been ripping us off for years. And we did it with the USMCA, but we're going to do things that you won't even believe. These companies are going to be begging to come back, because if they don't come back and open up plants here, they're not going to be selling their product in the United States, okay? They're not going to be selling their product. We're going to end the looting and the pillaging of Pennsylvania. We will bring back our manufacturing jobs, our energy jobs, our coal jobs, our steel jobs, and we're going to bring back our dreams. Starting in January, we will give our companies the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs, the lowest regulatory burdens, and free access to the best and biggest market on the planet. And it is, but it won't be that for long. If you have a couple of more years, you're not going to have the best and biggest, and we're going to lose the dollar, the sanctity of the dollar. And once that happens, that's like losing a war. The centerpiece of this plan will be a 15% made in America corporate tax rate, cutting the tax from 21 to 15. Now, just so you know, it was almost at 40, and everyone said you won't be able to get it down. I got it down to almost 21 to 21%, got it passed by Congress, and we took in more money at 21 than we did at almost 40. Think of that. The money was flowing. We did a tax cut that created jobs. Businesses were coming in, and now we're going to take the 21% down to 15, which makes us the most competitive nation in the world. So the biggest and most competitive. But here's the hitch. But only, and this is pretty cool, this was my idea. I'm very proud. I had calls from the biggest, most intelligent, supposedly intelligent. What's intelligence? I don't know. But the most intelligent people on Wall Street. Where did you come up with the idea? Because I'm saying you're only getting the low tax rate, and it's only going to be for those who make their product here in the USA and hire American workers for the job. So they go down from 21 to 15, but they have to make their product here, right here, like in Pennsylvania. And if these companies don't make their products here, then they will pay a stiff tariff when they sell their products and send their products into the United States for the privilege of competing with our workers. We don't want that, and our cherished and now protected companies. We're going to protect those companies that have made the investment and companies that are here that will leave. And I did you a big favor, because you do a lot of auto parts especially. So you probably heard that in Mexico that China was going to build among the largest auto plants in the world. They were going to knock out cars left and right, destroy Michigan, destroy Detroit. I just left Detroit. They were very happy. So about a year ago, I found out about, I have a friend, he builds the plants. He's the biggest in the world at building the plants. I said, I want to see an auto plant. You got to show me one. I said, where would we go? He said, Mexico. I said, I don't want to go to Mexico. I want to see one here. He said, we don't make them here. We make them in Mexico. We make them in China. He said, what's that all about? He said, that's the way it is. We don't make them. I said, so I can't see one here. I don't want to go to Mexico. But they were going to build the biggest plant in the world in Mexico. When I heard this, I said, wow. And then I leave Detroit, and, you know, they're taking out, they lost 38% of their automobile business since they took over. 38% of the automobile business is gone. This is after decades of just losing to other countries. So I did you all a favor. I said, that big, beautiful plant that they're going to make, billions of dollars, it's going to make thousands and thousands of cars virtually a day. It's the biggest, it would be bigger, almost bigger than all of Michigan automobile manufacturing in just a couple of plants. I said, I'm going to put a tariff on every single car that's made in Mexico, owned by China, and it's going to be so high that it won't work. And I don't give a damn. It's not going to work. And I'll make it 100%, and if that doesn't do it, I'll raise it up to 200%. They're not going to have one car come into our country. And I saw that man when I was 2 weeks ago in Detroit in the Economic Club making a speech. Beautiful people, beautiful everything, beautiful room. Everything was perfect. And I look out in the audience and I see the man that builds the plants. I said, I got to see that guy. So I say, John, how are you doing with that big plant in Mexico? He said, sir, it's been terminated, it's been dropped. They think you're going to become president, and they're going to lose their shirt because you're going to put tariffs on. So I did you a favor. I did you a favor. Because they won't be able to sell any cars because we were going to put the tariff so high that it wouldn't work, and other countries do that to us. But we have the best. We could do it better because we have the pot of gold, and we're going to keep the pot of gold. So that was a great thing. Say, thank you, Pennsylvania. But Detroit, I'll tell you, they are so happy because I was going to wipe out Michigan. That was going to wipe out. That's why the auto workers in Michigan love Trump. And you know what? I won the Teamster vote. How about that? The Teamsters like Trump. They all like Trump. The firemen like Trump. And law enforcement, we've got every law enforcement group virtually in the entire country. She hasn't got one. She doesn't have one cop in a corner that didn't like somebody. She has nobody because she's horrible on crime. She's horrible on everything. We will also pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. If China or any other country charges us a 100 or 200% tax, then we will charge them a 100 or 200% tax in return. It's called an eye for an eye. And you know what's going to happen? They're not going to charge us any more tax. That's going to happen. Or they'll move their companies into the United States, and we're going to be their workers. That's the way it goes. And then they won't have the tax to pay. It's very simple. If Kamala, do you think she thinks about this? She has no idea what the hell I'm even talking about. She's probably sitting there. She thinks she's going to raise taxes on companies by 40, 50%. That would mean you all lose their jobs, and they'll just go to another country. Because, you know, a lot of these executives, they're international executives. A lot of them don't even live here. They don't even come from here. They don't care. They go where the best deal is. When I get it down to 15% and then we have everything else going for us, nobody can compete. They're going to be pouring into our country. But they'll leave our country if you raise their taxes to a certain... They'll leave. They don't give a damn. They couldn't care less. If Kamala gets 4 more years, she'll obliterate our economy, kill millions of jobs, destroy your family finances, and many people will die because they're going to be coming across the border at levels that are 5 times greater than even now. You'll have 200 million people coming in, not 21 million. 21 million people came in 3.5 years. There's never been a border in history with a number like that, but you'll have 200 million. You won't even have a country anymore. Kamala's inflation nightmare has already cost a typical family over $30,000 in higher prices, and now she wants to raise the typical family's taxes by $3,000 a year. Congratulations. This is the only person I've ever seen campaign on I will raise your taxes. All my life I've watched politicians. We will cut your taxes. She said, we'll raise your taxes. There's something wrong with this whole deal, I tell you. This country's gone crazy. The taxing queen, they call her, is also demanding a shocking 33% tax hike on all domestic production. Take a look.
Joe Biden and I are about to get rid of that tax bill.
Calling for a full repeal of President Trump's tax cuts.
If Kamala Harris was elected president, there are many different tax policies which could cripple the economy, but the first thing she wants to do is allow these Trump tax cuts to expire.
Even the New York Times admits that 85% of the middle class got a tax cut.
Americans will face a hike The Tax Foundation finding that a couple with 2 kids making $165,000 a year would have to pay over $2,400 more in taxes.
And on day one, I will repeal that tax bill. Joe Biden and I are about to work to get rid of that tax cut. Joe and I are about to get rid of that tax bill. Joe Biden and I are about to get rid of that tax cut.
Everything from a 70 to 80% tax rate.
I think that's fantastic. We've got to increase the corporate tax rate. Part of that is going to be about repealing that tax bill that they just passed. And also looking at estate taxes are going to have to go up. We will tax capital gains, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes.
Taxing unrealized gains just doesn't seem fair in any sense of the word.
When the value of your home goes up, you pay higher taxes even if you don't sell your home.
Your value of your home never moves the way the stock moves to say, we're going to tax what you don't have. That's a sore point, and it's a big deal. Is that something you think she firmly believes in?
I think it's part of the proposals of the campaign.
Under my plan, there will also be a carbon fee. There has to be some connection between the fee and bad behaviors, and there has to be, and that we have to monitor whether it's going to be passed on to consumers. But I'm going to tell you that should never be the reason not to actually put a fee, and in particular, a carbon fee.
So first of all, the sound up there is lousy. So here's what happens. I tell my people immediately, don't pay the bill for the guy that did that, okay? And then they get a story, Trump doesn't want to pay the bill. No, you know, when people do a lousy job, they did a lousy job with the sound. But the good news is you understand it. They want to raise your taxes, and that's not acceptable. I will massively cut taxes for workers and small businesses. We have a lot of taxes we're going to be cutting, getting rid of, but we're going to have some special ones. There'll be no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our seniors. And I'll also make interest on car loans. This is one that nobody thought of. We're going to make interest because we want to build cars, right? So this is like getting a cut in price, a huge cut. I'll also make interest on car loans fully tax deductible, but only for cars made in America. I don't care if they're made in Japan. What the hell do I want to do it for? Because affording a car is essential to restoring the American dream, and that's what we want to do. We want to bring back the American dream. We're going to do it, too. As we restore our economy, we will also secure our borders. Over the past 4 years, Kamala Harris has orchestrated the most egregious betrayal that any leader in American history has ever inflicted on our people. She has eradicated our sovereign border, and she has unleashed an army of migrant gangs who are waging a campaign of violence and terror against our citizens all over our country. Kamala has imported an invasion of criminal migrants from prisons and jails, insane asylums and mental institutions from all around the world, from Venezuela to the Congo in Africa. The Congo, they're letting in tremendous numbers. They're letting out all their prisoners from the prisons in the Congo, and they're coming into the United States, and they're forcing them into our country. And we're accepting them because we're led by stupid people. And she has resettled. All of these people are being resettled. You know, of Springfield, a beautiful place, Springfield in Ohio. You heard about this. 52,000 people. They put in 32,000 illegal migrants. Think of it. So they wake up one day and they've almost doubled the size of their town. They can't get into their hospitals. And the mayor's a very nice person. He wants to just help them. But you can't because the town is destroyed. And all he's looking for is interpreters because on top of everything else, they don't even speak the language. And then you have Aurora in Colorado. And that's where you see these thugs from Venezuela. And she's resettling all of these people into communities, and in many cases they prey on innocent American citizens. One of the deadliest and most vicious migrant gangs that Kamala has imported into our country is the savage Venezuelan prison gang called Tren de Aragua. These are young thugs that's taking over apartment complexes and unleashing a violent terror spree all over America. towns all over America are petrified that they're going to be coming here, but they're in more than just Aurora in Colorado, and the governor's petrified of them. He doesn't know what to do. Now they're even taking over Times Square in New York. Let's take a look at these guys. This is a tough group.
Open borders, deadly consequences.
Border crisis. Record high crossings are putting a strain on cities across America. It is a full-blown invasion.
Armed Venezuelan gang members storming an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado.
When people talk about my good crime, this is what they're talking about.
San Antonio, Texas, just one of the latest cities to have apartment complexes taken over by members of the Venezuelan gang.
Biden and Harris had created a program to bring them in under humanitarian parole.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been released into the United States.
My 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered in her own room. Kayla's murderer was apprehended by Border Patrol crossing illegally into the U.S.
Kayla's murderer had been improperly released into the United States.
Abolish ICE. Yeah, we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
More than a dozen people suspected of being Tren de Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
The gang members had been terrorizing the apartment complex.
New details in the murder at Lake and Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national.
And was paroled and released into the country by the Biden administration.
If they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder and the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
Martinez and Angel wrapped his arms around Jocelyn's neck, took off her pants, and climbed on top of her. Later strangled Jocelyn to death and then tied up her hands and feet.
Court documents suggest a group of men arrested for beating and robbing a Dallas woman last month are members of a Venezuelan street gang.
The men threatened to cut off her fingers if she did not cooperate. Manuel Hernandez was booked by Colleyville police just 2 days earlier and released the day before the robbery.
A Peruvian gang leader who is wanted for 23 murders, who was arrested by Border Patrol near Roma, Texas, then released into America.
This is what we have coming into our country. We're not going to have it any longer, that I can tell you. And we're going to have to get a lot of them out fast because we're not safe. And the United States has now become essentially an occupied country. We're an occupied country, talking about tens of thousands of people like this. But it will soon be an occupied country no longer. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. It's going to be Liberation Day. Under Kamala Harris, 13,099, this was Border Patrol numbers, illegal alien convicted murderers. These are convicted murderers in prisons all over the world, are on the loose in the United States. We've become a dumping ground for nations all over the world. They're dumping people into our country that they don't want because they're too dangerous and they're too expensive to take care of. It's very expensive having them in jail for 50 years. And they bring them to us. I said something yesterday, I thought it was terrible, and then I realized it was actually good. First time I ever said it. We've become like a garbage can for the rest of the world. They're throwing all their garbage into our country. And we're not taking it, and they know we're not taking it. They don't want me to win this election, that I can tell you, because we live with these people, and we'll get killed by these people. These are dangerous people. These are really dangerous people. There's nothing you're going to do about it to make them less dangerous. Immediately upon taking the oath of office, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. And I will rescue every town across America that's been invaded and conquered. They've been conquered. These towns have been conquered. And we will put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail, or we'll kick them the hell out of our country and fast. And to expedite removals of Tren de Aragua and other savage groups and gangs like MS-13, one of the most violent gangs in the world. In Long Island, for whatever reason, they go to Long Island. 2 young girls, 16 years old, were walking to school and they were captured by these animals, and they don't use guns because they're not painful enough. They use knives, and they cut the girls up into little pieces, killing them both. And they paid a price, but you know what? They should have never been in our country. I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. We have to go back that far. Think of that, because that's when they ran the country a little tougher. To target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil. And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole, zero possibility. And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer. I will end catch and release. I will end all migrant flights. They fly them in here by the hundreds of thousands. They fly right over the borders. It's not even believable. I will outlaw sanctuary cities, and I will ban all welfare and federal benefits for illegals, and then they won't come. They won't come. Kamala Harris is so incompetent and so unfit that she's obviously disqualified from being president of the United States. Anybody that would have put up with this, she never even called. You know, the Border Patrol, they endorsed me last week. And in the endorsement, it was full-throated. And they've endorsed me every year. I mean, they're great because we had some great 4 years. We had it done. All they had to do is leave what we had, but they didn't want to do that. But the Border Patrol endorsed me. And endorsing me, they said, she is the worst there has ever been. She's not going to be allowed to destroy our country like she destroyed San Francisco and like she destroyed California. And you see what's happening there. Everybody does, and everyone knows it, but no one respects her. No one trusts her. No one takes her seriously, from humiliating our country in Afghanistan with Crooked Joe, to the war in Ukraine, to the nightmare on our border, to her inflation catastrophe, to her egregious hurricane response, which was worse maybe than even Katrina. Kamala Harris is a train wreck who has destroyed everything in her path. To make her president would be to gamble with the lives of millions of people. She would get us into a World War III guaranteed, because she is too grossly incompetent to do the job. She's not going to be able to deal with President Xi or Putin or Kim Jong-un or anybody. And then all of your sons and daughters will end up getting drafted to go fight for a war in a country that you've never heard of. Our enemies are laughing at her. They're laughing at us. But if we win, our enemies won't be laughing anymore. I tell you, they're not going to be laughing anymore. They're not going to be laughing. Viktor Orban, he's the head of Hungary, a very powerful man, very strong man. They said, you bring back Trump, you're not going to have any more problems. When he was president, we didn't have any problems. Now, I wouldn't use this term, but he did. He said, China feared him, they were afraid of him. Russia feared him, they were afraid of him. Look what I did to Russia. I ended Nord Stream 2. Nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2. Nord Stream 2 was a pipeline that covered all of Europe. I said, you mean we're protecting you through NATO and you're giving them billions of dollars a month for their energy? That's no good. I ended it, boom. When Biden came in, he approved it. And then they say, oh, Trump was very friendly with Putin. No, Putin would say, this is not a great friendship. But I had a relationship. And, they're a nuclear country, so are we. And I'm going to get that war settled, because millions of people are being killed. Far more people are being killed in that war than you think. October 7th would have never happened with Israel. Think of it. All those people would be alive. October 7th, it was a carnage. If we win, America will be feared and respected again. But we're not just running against Kamala. She means nothing, actually. She's purely a vessel. Has to be, right? You saw her on the town hall the other night with Allison Cooper. Did you see? This is Allison Cooper of CNN. No, Allison interviewed her. She couldn't answer a question. She couldn't, she was terrible. We can't have that running our country. She can't put two sentences together, just like we were not running against crooked Joe Biden. We weren't running against Biden. We're running against something far bigger and more powerful than them. They took his job away. They walked into his office and they just said, "You're not going to be president anymore." He went through the system. And I guess I'll use their term. They were a threat to democracy, right? They took his president. They said, "You're out." How about that? Crazy Nancy and a few people, they just said, "You're out." But it's a big machine, which is a massive, vicious, crooked, radical left group of people that runs today's Democrat Party. They're vicious, they're smart, they're way left, they're communists, probably. Remember I said we will never be a socialist country, right? Remember? Because I like to say I was right about everything. I was right. We skipped socialism. We went down to communism. I mean, right? I think that's, oh, he's saying it. The man down here is saying it. But this is the real group that we're fighting. We're fighting a group of, like an amorphous group of people that seem to be invisible, but they're not invisible. These are the people who are doing such harm to our country with their open borders policies, record-setting inflation, the Green New scam for $93 trillion. They want every building in Manhattan to not have windows anymore because they think it's environmentally friendly. It'd be very interesting. How do you sell an apartment? Let's see. I want to buy a beautiful apartment. It's got no windows, but it's environmentally friendly. No, these are sick people. But we're not going to let this bullshit happen any longer. We're going to have the biggest victory in the history of our country on November 5th, and we are going to make America great again, and we're going to do it fast. On top of it all, Kamala says she would do nothing differently from Joe Biden. She said it. No, I would do nothing differently. You know, we lost 325,000 children. Do you know that? Think of it. You never hear it from the fake news. They don't talk about it. They don't talk about the Afghanistan travesty. We lost 325,000 children. They're either dead, probably never be found again, sex slaves or slaves. And they were brought into our country through our open border. 325,000. That's big stadiums filled up many, many times. Take a look at this, please.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
I stood there on the tarmac watching you check your watch.
The chaotic and deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan stunned Americans and the world and cost the lives of 13 U.S. soldiers.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
Gut-wrenching new details in the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national who crossed the unsecured southern border back in 2022.
Two men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nangaray.
A fifth illegal immigrant accused of attacking two New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Only 18% say the economy is in excellent or good condition.
U.S. inflation has hit a new 40-year high, increasing by 9.1% over the financial year.
Authorities saying Train de Aragua, which has been linked with more than 100 criminal investigations here in the U.S., has now been found operating its criminal enterprise in apartment complexes.
Were you the last person in the room? Yes.
So you get the picture. You get the picture. It's not a pretty one. Pennsylvania, if you want to end this disaster, you must get out to vote. Everybody here, I appreciate the ones that voted, but just get out to vote. And you can start by also voting for David McCormick. He's a great gentleman. He's a great gentleman. I told him to go and make another speech. He's making a speech. I said, I will represent you. This guy is a winner. He was a wrestler, too. He wasn't as good as these guys, but who is? Not too many people, I don't think. But he was a wrestler. He was very successful in business, in school. He was top of the line. He was the top of everything. And he's running against a guy that doesn't do a damn thing. He's been there forever. And David McCormick is really fantastic. We're also pleased to be joined today by Congressman Glenn G.T. Thompson, who's a winner, a champion. He's a champion. Thank you very much, Glenn. Thank you. Great job you do. And another one, another great patriot. He loves the Commonwealth. He loves the country. Congressman John Joyce. Thank you, John. Thank you, man. And a woman very respected in Washington and everywhere she goes, frankly. She's on the strong side. I want to say strong. She's a strong person, got a strong personality, but isn't that a good thing? We need some of that. But she's a very, very special person, and she's really a very good person, too. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene. And we have some special people, because I really respect winners. So do you. We like to have a couple of them leading our country. Wouldn't that be nice? But we like to have winners. And we have with us a team that won like 11 out of the last 13 national championships, and they're the current national champion. They are the USA national champions in wrestling. And I would like to ask them, I don't know if this platform can hold them, because that's a lot of muscle. You know, muscle is much heavier than fat, they tell me, fellas. Is that right? But I'd love to have the team come up here and we can just say hello to them. These guys are something. Wow. That's a lot of muscle. That's great, fellas. Wow. Wow, that's great. Bo Nickel is a friend of mine, fellas. You know Bo? You know Bo, right? He's going up there in December or November, right after the election, actually. Be very interesting, but he's a winner. He's a champ. Come on up, fellas. Look at these guys. Look at these guys. You don't know. To win a national championship is great, but to do it like them, and another friend of yours, I guess most of you are very close to him. It hasn't been that long. Bo Nickel, right? You know? Yeah. And he's fighting a big one in November, right after the election. I said, maybe I'll go. If I win, I'll go. If I don't win, I think I'll be too depressed to go. I don't think I'll go. But he's a great guy. Would somebody like to come up? Who's got the best mouthpiece over here? Who? Come on. On behalf of the
Pleasure. So I'm a little shorter than Mr. President here, but it's truly an honor to be here. Thank you for recognizing us. And Pennsylvania's a super important state. We need to win this election, and let's make America great again. Go vote.
It's an incredible achievement, really. Best in the nation, best anywhere. I was just thinking maybe they could take over the gang. They could knock the hell out of those guys. They're the only guys in the room that could do that, I can tell you. What a great job, fellas. What an achievement that is. To be a national champion many times over and with all the competition, a lot of competition in that sport too, so it's a great honor to have them here. But here are the facts on Kamala. Hard to believe we have to go from them to this one here, Kamala. But she's a radical left Marxist, rated even worse than crooked Bernie Sanders or Pocahontas. You know who Pocahontas is? She destroyed our economy. She was an original creator of the defund the police movement, which means that anybody who wants to defund the police, even for a day, should never be worthy of being president of the United States because the concept is so bad. Kamala Harris vowed to abolish ICE. ICE are very tough people. Even they would respect ICE, but they're tough and they get the bad ones out. They took out thousands of MS-13 gang members. They're very tough cookies, but they love our country, and they've done a job. She wants to defund them. She wants to get them out. As California Attorney General, she redefined child sex trafficking, assault with a deadly weapon, and rape of an unconscious person as a nonviolent crime. She pledged to confiscate your guns. She wants to confiscate your guns. Would anybody like to willingly give up their gun to Kamala? Well, she'll do it because that's for her whole life. Now, she just changed that a little while ago because it wasn't working too well with her election. She's a radical left person. Look, she's a radical left lunatic, and that's what you have. And now you know her. She went through the honeymoon period, and now you know she changed 15 different policies on her, like transgender. Oh, no, I'm so not. No, her whole life she wanted that. She thinks operations are wonderful. To transition a man to a woman is a wonderful thing, and without parental consent yet. This is a wonderful thing. Now, if she believed that even for a day, you don't want to have her because it's in there somewhere deep inside, right? She endorsed a total ban on handgun ownership. She even called for free sex changes for illegal aliens that are held in detention at taxpayer expense. And as you know, did you see the little skit that turned out to be a monster when I went to McDonald's a few days ago? I actually got a call from Sundar, who's great from Google. He's a great guy, very smart, the head of Google. And he said, sir, I just want to tell you, what you did with McDonald's was one of the single biggest events we've ever had at Google. He said, I don't know how the hell that happened, but it went crazy. But you know, I did it. It was just a little throwaway, and I just wanted to highlight. I didn't know it was going to blow up like that. But you never know what's going to happen in life, do you? You never know. You never really know. And by the way, watch Joe Rogan if you want. He did a little interview. Did you like the Joe Rogan? Everyone sees it. But I did that to highlight the fact that a big part of her resume was that she worked so hard at McDonald's. She stood over the French fries. That's what I was doing, making French fries. I'll tell you, those things are damn good when you get them before they get cold. And I stood over the French fries because I was there for about 15 minutes, which meant I was there for 15 minutes longer than her because she never worked at McDonald's. She lied. And on top of all of this, she wants to make our military woke. I don't think so. Just take a look.
You little scumbag! I got your name! I got your ass! You will not laugh! You will not cry! You will learn by the numbers!
Happy Pride. Happy Pride Month, and actually, let's declare it a summer of pride.
So you're a killer? Sir, yes, sir! Let me see your war face! Sir, you got a war face? Ah! That's a war face! Now let me see your war face! Ah! Bullshit! You didn't convince me! Let me see your real war face! Ah! But until that day, you are pukes. You are the lowest form of life on earth. You are not even human fucking beings. You are nothing but unorganized, grabastic pieces of amphibian shit.
How to abracadabra these bitches know I got answers the way I...
It looks to me like the best part of you ran down the crack of your mama's ass and ended up as a brown stain on the mattress.
I love working for Uncle Sam. I love working for Uncle Sam. Let me know just who I am. Let me know just who I am. 1, 2, 3, 4, United States Marine Corps. 1, 2, 3, 4, United States Marine Corps.
So we won 2 world wars. And let me tell you, we're not woke. These guys are woke. A couple of the stupid people we have at the top, guys like Milley, General Milley and Mattis, and these guys are lightweights, but we have the real deal. We defeated ISIS, knocked out the ISIS caliphate in its totality. The fact that we were even thinking about everybody was peaceful with us because they know how good our military is. You could put them in a woke cage for 2 years and they'd come out fighting. We're not woke, and they never would be woke. Just a few people on the top, and they don't really matter much anymore. In conclusion, with your vote this November, we're going to fire Kamala, and we are going to save America. With your support, we will cut your taxes, end inflation, slash your prices, raise your wages, and bring thousands of factories back to America and back to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We will build American, we will buy American, and we will hire American. I will end the war in Ukraine very rapidly. Would have never started if I were president. Should have never started. Should have never started. A horrible war. And I will stop the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent World War III from happening. We're very close to World War III. We've never been so close. We will crush violent crime and give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect that they so dearly reserve. They deserve this. They have to have that respect. We have to give them back the honor and the respect that they deserve. We will strengthen and modernize our military. I rebuilt the military, but we're going to now do upgrades. We will build a missile defense shield above our country, all over our country, and much of it will be made in Pennsylvania. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. And I'm going to put in legislation immediately upon getting to Washington that makes it an absolute penalty to burn our American flag 1 year in prison, 1 year. If you want to burn our American flag, you go to prison for 1 year. And I looked at what happened 2 months ago in Washington, D.C. with the horrible scene. They were burning flags all over the place and spraying spray paint on beautiful limestone, but that's my business, you know, real estate. Limestone sucks in the paint. You'll see that limestone, you'll see that paint 100 years from now. They were spray painting the beautiful lions at the main entrance to a magnificent building. No. But you burn our flags 1 year in prison. They say it's unconstitutional, but I can't believe that. We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools and immediately. And we will keep men out of women's sports. I will defend religious liberty, I will restore free speech, and I will defend the right to keep and bear arms. That's your Second Amendment. After years of building up foreign nations, defending foreign borders, and protecting foreign lands, we are finally going to build up our country, defend our borders, and protect our citizens, maybe for a change, right? And we will stop illegal immigration once and for all. It will be ended. You can come into our country, but you have to come in legally. We will not be invaded. We will not be occupied. We will not be overrun. We will not be conquered. We will be a free and proud nation once again. Everyone will prosper. Every family will thrive. And every day will be filled with opportunity and hope and loaded up with the American dream. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left agenda with a landslide that is too big to rig. Early voting is underway. Get everyone you know out there, all those people that raised their hands, please get out and vote. You got to vote. And all the people that didn't have to raise their hand, we really appreciate it. We really do, because we're going to have the biggest victory maybe in the history of our country. This could be the biggest in the history of our country. After all we've been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in the history of America. With your help, from now until Election Day, it's 9 days, we will restore America's promise. We will put America first. And we will take back the nation that we love. You know, we've been on this journey now for 9 years together. We've had the greatest rallies in the history of our country. It's the greatest movement in the history of our country. And it's now coming to an end as we know it. It's coming to an end. In one way it's sad, in another way it's beautiful. I think it's going to come to a very successful end, and then a new period begins, and that's the next 4 years where we're going to make our country so incredible, and we're going to do it so fast. But there'll never be rallies like this. There'll never be. In 4 years, there'll be somebody come in and they'll call for a rally and they'll have 200 or 300 people. There's never been anything like this, not in history. And it's a great tribute to you and the love that you have for this country, and I will never forget it. I will never forget it. But now we have to finish it off. We have to finish it off with a big victory on November 5th, the biggest, I believe it'll be the biggest political event in the history of our country. That's how big it's going to be. Remember, we will be a nation in decline no longer from the day that happens. But we are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never, ever back down, and we will never surrender. Together, we will fight, 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 and win, win, win. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country, and together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Pennsylvania. God bless you all. Good luck, fellas. Have a good life. Great people. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.